Where is my husband? I've
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Not bad, and yourself?
Good. I'm great. Sun is shining.
Interesting, because up here,
Mhm.
it's cloudy.
Really?
Yes,
It was cloudy like all day, but the sun just like started to come out, so I'm excited.
you're down south.
A little bit, a little bit, a little
A
bit.
little bit, a little bit. All righty. All right, everyone. Welcome to our Autism Experience podcast. Today, I have a special guest, and this is somebody who I frequently have gone to a fun little meetup called Save the Chat with. Today, we have Julia, who's actually a marketing student that I believe, as she'll explain to us, does some level of investing within the real estate sector, correct?
Yep, yep, exactly.
So, part of my big promise this year to my audience is as follows. I started at this beginning of the year with someone within the community, Carson, and my goal this year was to teach my audience more about how to make their money work for them.
Mm.
So, this can be any range of investments, but more specifically within the realm of real estate. So, we're going to start with a batch of 5 questions, and then we're just going to take it a little all over the place.
Love
So, first question. Who in the world or in your life do you want to help?
it. Ooh, that is a great question. I've always been someone that has a passion for helping just people in general. That's why I've been in the service industry for so long. I love being able to serve others and just kind of be, a problem solver to people as well. So I feel like with my business and what I've done in the past, I mean, I want to say just like everyone, but I guess. I love helping people that maybe struggle with like anxiety or maybe struggle with like kind of like that mindset. So I feel like a lot of people, I'm 27, about to be 28, and I work with also like a lot of younger people, and I've kind of been seeing anxiety and like kind of mindset maybe,
So, for our audience purposes, considering I met you and saved the chat,
yeah,
we are now talking to you as somebody from Gen Z, which is young
yeah,
professionals born from 1997 to the cutoff, which is 2012, if I remember correctly, right?
yep, yep.
So, or as I always like to say, you're considered a young person under 40, but in all reality, you're under 30.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you're part of the new patrol of young workers who are coming on to the who are coming on to who already have sort of been, but then others are just either going to college or coming into the job
Right.
market,
Right. Yeah.
and you're of voting age.
I probably have a different perspective than a lot of people considering I am.
Well, generically, probably out of the whole cohort of Gen Z, you probably do think a little differently,
Mhm.
which isn't a bad thing.
Mm-mm.
So let's start with a fun question.
Okay.
Where did you go to college?
Where did I go to college?
Yeah.
I went to the University of Louisville.
Go Cardinals,
Cardinals.
which
Yeah.
is one of the biggest basketball schools. All right, so you
Yeah.
were originally born and bred in Kentucky, correct?
No, I'm actually originally from Pennsylvania.
How did you end up in Kentucky?
I wanted to go to school somewhere that was like, not too far away from home, but far enough. And it was kind of the perfect distance, perfect thing that I was looking for. And the moment I visited the University of Louisville, I knew it would be a place that I would love. So very random. I,
Which part of Pennsylvania are you from?
Erie.
How
I'm
close to Philadelphia?
I'm like on the opposite side. So I'm closer to Lake Erie. So I think Philadelphia is like an 8-hour drive for me. I've never been.
Okay, so if I'm correct, I think you're on the side of Pennsylvania that faces Ohio, correct?
So yeah, so I'm on Pennsylvania shaped, it has that chimney. I'm on the very tip top of the chimney. So I'm an hour and a half away from Buffalo, New York.
Ah, okay, that. that explains a couple things.
Yes.
Okay, so with that in mind, since you went to Kentucky, was the original idea to kind of just get away from home for some time and try living in a different state?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from a very small town. I feel like I got what I needed from my small town, and I just wanted to experience something new. And yeah, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Interesting. What did you major in when you went to University of Louisville?
I majored in marketing and I minored in computer information systems.
Your minor was in computer information systems. Originally, what would you say you wanted to do with both those degrees?
So, I think I wanted to be an event planner, shockingly. Probably like right at the beginning, I think I wanted to be an event planner. And then I got into more like PR stuff. And to be honest, I think about this quite a bit. I don't think I thought a lot about what I wanted to do with my future. I think I am a very go with the flow person. And I kind of wish I was more intentional with what I did, with like internships and things like that.
Would you be surprised that somebody like myself at 40 years old still hasn't completely figured out what he was supposed to do?
Right? Yeah.
And do you know what the really ironically funny part about that my statement is
What?
right there?
Uh-huh.
The generation above you was supposed to be the generation that followed the wonderful script, thanks to our parents, of
Mhm.
go to college, you'll
Yes.
get a job, then
Totally.
you'll be able to eventually leverage it to six figures, you'll get married, start a family, and guess who's doing a podcast at age 40? Thanks, Mom.
And you
Thanks,
love
Dad,
it.
for
You love
giving me
it
a script
though,
that no
right?
longer exists.
So true. And that worked for them, right? I mean, that like doesn't like, if we want to
Just
ever
out of
retire.
curiosity, are your parents mid to late 50s?
Yes.
Okay, so you have Gen X parents.
Hmm.
The older part of Gen X actually, I think, followed that exact same script too, because it still worked at a certain point. But I also know for a fact that your parents' generation at the top are probably a bit more realistic because they're the burned out generation.
Right. Oh, totally.
They're
They're
like,
both
they're
retired.
like, we hate you, baby boomers. We hate you, millennials. And now we got to deal with our own kids.
Right? Exactly.
And we have aging parents. So basically, this is us right now.
They don't get it. They just don't get it.
The boomers or your parents.
Both.
Imagine being a millennial with boomer parents.
I know, I know. Yeah,
It's not that much better.
I bet
But
that's
anyway, okay, since I asked you that, okay. Give me a second. Okay, so you already professionally mentioned that you did marketing. How did you, with marketing, how did you eventually find your way into real estate?
Yeah, totally by accident. I started my career off in the service industry, so I was working in restaurants and I did that for 4 to 5 years and I was just kind of like, this isn't it for me long term. So I have a best friend who works in real estate. He was working at a multifamily syndication company and knew that I wanted to find something different. He was like, "Hey, they just had an opening." And he was like, "You should just check it out." Like I knew nothing about real estate, not one thing. And so yeah, I ended up getting a job there and that's how I learned and entered this world that we're in now.
I'll get to that story of how I got into all of this in a moment, but it's funny you mentioned that, because first I'm going to ask what exactly does for our audience does a multifamily syndication do? Because there's good about it and there's bad about it. Syndicates originally, from when I watched anime as a kid, the original idea was you pooled money together and then they had a specific interest that they would be investing in. So in an anime that I watched in the 1990s about it was Rurouni Kenshin, they mentioned syndication, but the original idea with syndication was oil exploration.
Oh, okay.
At
Interesting.
least that was what it was in that anime, because Japan had been considered a natural gas and historically during the Meiji era, originally an oil and gas exploration type of syndicate, but I know it takes on different something different in real estate. So if you don't mind explaining what this
Yeah.
syndication did.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty similar. Basically, it is pooling together other people's money in order to purchase or invest in bigger asset classes, and that's real estate.
So in this case, it would be small multifamily houses or more like large complex
Large
multifamilies.
complexes usually. Yep.
Now, multifamilies up here in my state do not always necessarily look the same as some of these out of some of these complexes that I have seen down south.
Okay.
So when I'm thinking of a complex for multifamily in the south, are we talking these are tower multifamily units or like actual house looking multifamilies?
The ones that I'm most familiar with are probably like 3 to 4 to 5 stories.
Three to four or five stories. So that's probably for the audience, how many units?
Depending on how many buildings there are and depending what type of units they have, if they're,
And probably the amount of land that's available to build
right.
with to have
Exactly.
originally built with these. That's
Exactly.
one thing that I've been learning along the way, especially in our specific group that we met at, which was Save the Chat. And I will plug that eventually somewhere along the way in this episode because that's a fun, that it's a fun group to go to. Now, obviously, from my original podcasting mentor, who you specifically know, me and him are now working together yet again. Well,
Hmm.
not yet again for the actual first time.
Okay.
We're doing a special service that we think are going to be beneficial towards, your generation, my generation, his generation. I'll talk about a little bit about that as well. But interestingly enough, in Save the Chat, a lot of it when they were all originally going before probably you and I started attending, they
Mhm.
people actually did go into deals in these kind of things.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know in the last 2 to 3 years, the market's not been that good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even last year, I didn't see that many people going into deals. Did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Not really. I mean, there's also the legality around it as well. So depending on what they're
In one of the weekly groups similar to Save the Chat, which is Angel Williams
Mhm.
Monday group, I actually was in on a weekly meet where they were talking about a syndication that actually was in the middle of a federal in the middle of a federal lawsuit.
Yes, Angel always knows what's going on. She's always, filling us in on all those things. But yeah, I mean, it can be scary if, you trust
Well,
those.
if you're not careful with your money, because
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. I mean, the one we attend, Save the Chat, she's always smart to say it, but the two main hosts are Linda Holtz and Bernardo, who's a lender down in Florida, and they'll both always say it, do your research. I've always been told by her, Dan, who's my podcast mentor, Dan will always say it, and he'll even say it with me currently now working with him. If you're going to do something like this, do your research because you do not want to get fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've worked with some people where they've gotten screwed over. It's really sad.
So
There's
you've seen the same thing that I'm being warned by some of our bigger friends within the community.
absolutely, yep, it's sad.
Oh, it's sad, but it helps me reinforce the idea that when Dan and I get to that
Yeah.
point with me, I'll actually know what not to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. Yep, yep. And those are very,
Even though they try to make these syndications sound like a good deal, it's one of those due diligence things,
yeah,
as I'm always
there's
being
always,
reinforced
yeah,
to.
there's always risks. So just like asking the right questions and making sure that the person can, actually divulges all those things and makes, sets you up. And so you know what you're getting into, like 100%. That's what you just need to know that, obviously there's an,
Right, just like I'm warned you shouldn't invest in the state that you live in, even though sometimes the state that you live in can have some better deals than trying to go out of state. The
Mm-hmm.
difference between where I live and you live is my state has all these ridiculously giant stupid rules that I don't actually agree with. And sadly, I know this because I went to get insurance licensed and do you for to sell life insurance two different times. Do you know how
Yeah,
many stupid rules New York has with life insurance?
I believe you, but no, I can't even imagine.
And you think life insurance is bad. Housing is I understand housing from two different aspects. From me being able to think like an investor, do I want to invest here?
Mhm.
Probably no, but the only reason I would say yes is because at least in this state, I know with the rules and regulations, there's at least some protections and safeties.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got to know all those things too. Good.
And my county where I specifically live, this you, even though most people say don't live here because blah, it's expensive, there's areas where you can afford. It's not great, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's still the premier market that no matter where people are in the globe or in the world, they'll come here for the public school systems.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's nice.
That's one of the big draws with this area.
Mhm.
Now, what was your first role at the syndicate that you worked at?
I was the gosh, what was my title? Investor success manager, I think was my title.
Investor relations.
Yes.
So now they call investor relations a fancy title.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it's funny because whatever they're trying to rebrand to make it sound cooler for your generation, it was a different name for my generation.
Really? What was it?
I'll give you a perfect example. Customer success manager or customer experience is just really customer service.
Totally. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
just don't want to call it customer service because apparently, if you call it customer service, there's that stigma to
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Hmm.
it. You're thinking probably call center. I'm probably going to get
Yeah,
harassed by the
right.
public. Definitely your mother's age group will, can I speak to the manager?
Got the Karens. The Karens don't want to speak to the managers.
And it's like, but the manager at a call center can't really do all that much for
Right.
you.
Exactly.
Had to have a laugh. We're sorry, Gen X women. It's not
Yeah.
our fault, but your daughter said it, not me.
Still love you.
Don't worry, there are plenty of millennial women in their 40s who could probably be Karen
Oh,
Juniors.
so true.
I forgot what the term your generation called those women in my age group, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
All right, so how long did you spend at the syndication?
I think it was like about a year.
And what did you do after that?
That's when I started my business, actually. That's when
So
I
that's where you decided to do freelancing.
Yep, exactly. That's kind of how I got the idea that I could help a lot more people, and just saw the need that people need, marketing help and have a
Well, it's funny because when you talk about marketing, that's something my mother, who's going to be age 70 this year, she also does a lot of freelance marketing, and there is always more money to be made, doing something like that. The only difference for her and you is more proficiency with the internet, and now you have AI versus when, I was younger and she was doing it, it involved a little more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, explain to us what freelance marketing kind of entails
Mhm.
and starting a business online, what that's kind of like, how you do it, and then how you sell yourself.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so I basically have a fractional CMO service for people that are trying to raise capital on the internet to purchase, bigger real estate asset classes and things like that. So think of it as a fractional CMO service.
We
The
have somebody in our network who's a fractional CFO.
Oh, cool.
I think you know who I'm
Ryan,
talking about.
Ryan, right? Ryan.
Yes, Ryan.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So basically that's what I do. And I have CMOs on my team that do that as well and work with different clients. Gosh, I mean, when I started this business, I was working with a partner at the time, but I was the face of it. And it was So we started in January of 2024, and it wasn't until July where I was like, we were getting some traction here and there. It wasn't anything crazy. But if you want to make a business successful, you have to put yourself out there, right? Like people aren't going to know that your business exists if you just, sit behind a screen and not post about it on social media. Like how are people going to find you, right? So in July is when I,
There are people my age who think social media is evil and I'd rather just go door to door. And this was my best friend who got married 2 years ago, just
yeah.
had his first son 2 years ago. No, he got married 3 years ago. First son was 2 years ago. And he used to say to me,
Mhm.
and I quote, and then I realized after thinking some time it's funny.
Mhm.
His version of sticking himself out there is driving his big ass truck, going to events and handing out cards. But he makes fun of me for sitting at the computer being on social media. And you know what? If I could say to him now, if he ever discovers this as he's a channel subscriber, you could 10x your engineering business if you actually learned how to use social media from somebody like myself. The fact that you don't want to means you're doing it the old way because you don't like how people sell themselves on social media. Separate social media and people who are idiots from what it can actually do for you.
So true. Yeah.
I'd be happy to show him how to do it since I've grown three three different platforms over what my first I got MySpace in 2005, but that's because somebody made it for me.
Oh,
That's
really?
how I'm dating myself.
Hey, I was on MySpace.
Right, but I was on MySpace at the very early, at the 2000s mark,
Yeah.
when it was more popular. You couldn't
Yeah.
get on Facebook for 4 years because it was only exclusive to people at private universities or state universities with real email addresses. Then in
Yeah.
2008, they changed all of that. So once again, I'm dating myself.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot about that, but
But yeah, as far as that, I grew both Facebook and MySpace. I've grown a LinkedIn, so I'm pretty savvy with social media. And the funny thing is, what the other thing, if he's going to discover this, that I will tell him is. You and all our old friends who spent years dissing me and making fun of me for not wanting to accept that I'm an adult didn't realize. Here's what I did during all that time. You thought it was a joke, but guess what? If I grow a MySpace, two different Facebook accounts, and a LinkedIn, that basically shows you content creation is something that you should be taking seriously as a high-paying six-digit skill set.
absolutely. And now more than ever. I mean,
I can make more money doing content creation and social media than somebody who's a fucking civil engineer.
yeah.
Sorry, nothing personal against you civil engineers, but and your services are for sure very important to the world, but so is content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're like fighting for attention, right? And that is like what that's what you can monetize. It's like,
That's the problem that he specifically has with social media because he's like, oh, well, it's bad for your mental health. I mean, look at what some of these people make up as BS excuses. I'm like, that's content marketing. Some people should not be given the privilege of having some of these social medias if they're going to make stupid jokes and memes just to sell a product. But content marketing is different to different people. And the
yeah,
people you and I are discussing which is probably something he would never understand is we're talking about the coaching industry.
yeah, totally, totally.
I mean, what he's looking at is something that I can just sit there and say most of those coaches are using a style of marketing that most people poke fun at that
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily get you the type of customers or volume that others get.
yeah, yeah. It really all has to do with the audience too, though. It's like
Well, audience, age level, and maturity.
totally. Yep,
I
yep.
mean, it's different. Obviously, on real estate's no different. We do have large influencers who are particularly arrogant. I don't want to name celebrity names, but you know who I'm referring to down in Florida.
Hmm.
The
Yes.
really, really, really big one, in multifamily. I like the guy's content to a point, but I draw the line when you're basically sitting there and saying, for purposes because I don't want to get sued, you shouldn't probably be telling people who are working for you that you're going to be poor for the rest of your life because you don't have $1 million to invest.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I
Yeah,
totally
that's why I don't want to say the person by name because if he ever discovers this, that's an automatic lawsuit.
100%. Yeah. We're gonna shut our lips now and see how that.
But that's just to show you even my parents' generation who he's from. Some people do not use social media correctly. There's a correct way to use social media, or there's at least an ethical way to use social media.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And that's really, I mean, and there's an ethical way to, do commercial real estate as well, right? So that always comes into play. You got to make sure that you're, partnering.
Have you used any of your earnings from your business to do any investing?
Um, yeah, yeah, not in real estate yet. We were actually looking for trying to find triplex, duplex or something around here in this area, but we just haven't found the right one yet.
I actually recently contacted two realtors that I got that one from LinkedIn, actually. He's in my area. He referred me to somebody within my county. This guy's name is Scott Harris. He referred me to a colleague of his, Jeremy Zucker. And I'm actually researching multifamily units right now. I wanna potentially start doing what Linda explained to me. You know what house hacking is, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
That's actually how I want to eventually be able to buy a home. But the deals that I'm looking at this year and the condition of the market,
Yeah,
I probably need to wait a little while.
yeah, it's so tricky.
Well, not only is it tricky, it's access to the money first and foremost. And then, I need the right lending options.
Yeah,
And lending just got tighter this year.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, what we're looking at too, I mean, the ones it's just not making sense. Like the numbers just don't make sense right
Well,
now.
the numbers don't make sense this year. It doesn't mean that maybe, and especially when you consider the fact that oil went up to 125, $150 a day barrels, it's like, yeah, let's be happy about the fact that the rest of our life got complicated.
Right. Yeah, I know. Ripple effects everywhere.
What?
Ripple effects everywhere.
Ripple effects.
Yep.
Housing goes up, groceries go up, rent goes up,
Yep. Crazy.
and money earned in wages don't go up.
I know. That's the unfortunate part. That's why you gotta have, try and be in control of it.
Well, yeah, that's one of
Yeah.
the biggest lessons that I picked up on while coming to our group, Save the Chat, is I can eventually start selling services like yourself to some of our, fellow attendees. And actually, like you, it's probably going to be marketing, but the service that I'm going to be offering, I'll give a little explanation of. So, my mentor, Dan, in this situation, actually approached me back in December and finally came to me with an idea. The idea that he had is what we call executive accountability, but he's white gloving the service where basically, all right, what was the most annoying part of your job search, would you say?
Oh my gosh.
And did you pay for coaching?
No, I didn't. Um,
Good, because I did invest in at least one career coaches program and I got a lot out of it. But I have a huge criticism of career coaching, which is I have two to three main criticisms of it. First off, before we even go into price,
Mhm.
the guy that I invested in was a recruiter. Who do you think people like that who become career coaches are really selling to? Recruiters and HR people.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you and I are in direct business skills, that doesn't necessarily apply to us and they don't understand our industry.
Right. No, definitely not.
So I didn't make a mistake in going for the program itself. It's just because he's been career coaching and life coaching for up to 10 years. He's using strategies that worked 10 years ago before the before the applicant tracking system and all this AI software
Yeah.
bled in. So whatever you're telling me in terms of strategies, which I'm trying to use now, they're not the same.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
not a criticism of you and your program. That's just how much things have changed.
Right. Yeah. Times are changing. Yep.
And
True.
it's not, and now you basically, your generation, here's what you guys are up against. You need a portfolio of 5 cases. You
Yeah.
need 5 to 10 years of experience.
Right. And then,
And you basically need to have been marketing since you were 10 years old.
yeah, seriously. Seriously.
You've seen the memes. Come
Yeah.
on.
I don't know how I feel so bad for those people. It's like you either have to have an internship in college that like the entire goal is for you to like, obviously impress them, but to like shape you into who they want you to be and then get a full-time job there. That's how I'm hearing like the majority of people are getting jobs. But other than that, it's like good luck,
I mean, I could critique all the dumpster fire advice that's thrown around on LinkedIn to people in
Yeah.
your generation, like DM the hiring manager, go after the recruiter and ask for a coffee chat.
Right. Yep. Yep. Definitely.
This doesn't actually work.
They won't respond to you.
Did you bother the recruiter? The recruiter
Oh,
doesn't want to
you
talk to
do.
you.
Yeah.
Huh?
Just annoy them.
And you know what's really, you can't annoy them because honestly, what you and I are doing is what you're really actually supposed to
Yeah.
do. And
Mhm.
memo to job seekers before I describe what the remainder of the service. If
Yeah.
you did what me and Julia did, which is go sell services, in meetup groups, you might actually meet better people this way.
Right. Yep. And putting yourself out there. That
Not
is,
only putting myself out there, we have an investor who lives in Denver that works at Zillow. That's already automatic referral links for me.
yeah, right. Totally.
Anytime I see an applicable job that fits my skills and experience. Now, it didn't go somewhere, but the idea that he was there and accessible in a meetup group
Right.
basically proves the point of why you should not go to a hiring manager or a
Yeah,
recruiter.
definitely. Definitely.
The
And that's,
job fair, I don't believe that those work. They get you meeting a
oh,
recruiter, but it's like 50-50.
yeah, right. And the people that usually go to job fairs, like they're not the hiring people anyway. Sometimes
No,
it's
they're just the
random
recruiters.
people. Yeah, it's just random people. So, but yeah, that's the thing. It's like with like mental health and like kids don't want to put themselves out there. Like they want to stay within their comfortability and their comfort zone, which I
I
get.
mean, your generation kind of, in theory, can afford to do that type of stuff, but then your peers all complain about the cost of living.
Hmm. Yeah, totally.
Especially up in my area where it's like, well, you said you didn't want to work and you wanted to be a influencer.
Right, yeah. It takes time too. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, I know. Listen, I'm 40 years old. I'm kind of in the same boat you are where I'm beginning freelancing. So the
yeah.
fact that it's a white glove service,
Mhm.
basically it works like this. For a job seeker, if you wanted to become a client with me and my mentor, we would probably do what the career coaches often don't do, which is let's say you have a list of goals. Let's say your 5 goals for last week were, did you follow up with a recruiter after you sent that resume or email? Did you actually fix your resume as you said you would? If not, I'll just remind you, and then we can take it from there. Did you have that converse? Did you go to the career fair? Did you speak with this person, or did you go to a meetup? Now you apply that to people in our real estate community. Think about it this way, what that accountability does, which is basically, okay, did you send out that email or did you delegate your certain tasks?
Right.
Basically, he's making it a white glove service that can apply to anyone who's willing to pay pay up to $200 a
Okay.
month
Yeah, yeah.
for a 4 week cycle. versus some of these career coaches who are probably charging you anywhere from 100 to 1,000 to 2,000 depending on the package. What are you really getting out of that? That a monthly service that you can cancel of $200 is probably more worth it, because what you probably don't need is you probably don't actually need the coach. You need someone to say to you, "Hey, did you do X, Y, and Z?"
Definitely. Ooh, I love that. That's really, really cool. I feel like there's a lot of I encounter this quite a bit is that there's a lot of people that say that they want to scale or be successful, but just
They
don't.
don't have the motivation to do it.
Yeah, exactly. They don't
So
really.
if you know any of those people, send them our way.
Yeah, okay. Noted. I definitely will. I love that. That's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, and if you want tomorrow and Thursday around 3 o'clock, if you're willing to stop by, I'll send you a link afterwards for it. Dan and I are doing a webinar where basically it's going to speak about the service, but the main goal is show you how to build that business or supercharge your job search in under 30 minutes.
Oh, cool. I love that. What time is it at?
3 p.m.
Okay.
So once we're done here, or at after the episode's over, I'll send you the group over. I'll send you the group, and then you just promote it to your network that you're attending.
Okay, cool. Cool.
So, how long would you say it took you to build up your freelance clientele?
Um, Honestly, almost a year, I would say.
That sounds about right.
I feel like when yeah, like when it consistently, like I was getting a client, maybe two clients a month. Yeah, it probably took a year. It was like, every now and again, maybe like every 3 months I would get one. But yeah, it's like consistent now.
But now you're getting more consistent.
And I'm
And
doing and I'm doing less, which is crazy. I'm
you're
doing
doing less work with more clients.
I'm getting more clients.
How
But
do you lead generate through LinkedIn when you do this?
yep, all of it is through LinkedIn. But I feel like literally that whole year of me putting in a lot of work, and putting myself out there and being consistent with content creation, showing up to networking and stuff is why I'm consistently getting clients now. People know who I am, people recognize me, people refer me. So I feel like all that whole year was like totally worth it.
I think now, especially for my other services, what I'm doing with Dan will allow me to now sell other services along the way. Like one of my other things that I'm trying to sell to people, but it can companion what he and I are doing is basically autism training. So, what this consists of, since I'm on the autism spectrum, is basically I have a PowerPoint presentation that explains the different levels of autism from like high function to low function. I'm high function. So the presentation which I did for my friend's mental health clinic back in 2024 is available for whatever potential client, and it's basically me doing a 40 to 45 minute presentation with 10-minute Q&A session, and I would charge like probably 150 an hour for that. My goal is to sell that to corporate clients, also sell that to school districts, mental health clinics, nonprofit organizations, all on different prices on site. They're going to have to negotiate with me, a little higher because that's travel time. Otherwise, you can just pay me the 150 for Zoom.
Cool. That would be really helpful. Yeah.
And then other services that I'm probably going to do like you is I want to do marketing for people. I can also do data analytics. And this actually leads me to a fun question that I think would be great for our audience. How much reskilling do you do?
Rescaling.
Reskilling, basically skills building.
Oh, okay. Quite a bit. I do Coursera, so I basically have that prescription and I will just go through
Subscription.
courses. Yep, yep. So course, so I I've been really busy right now, and that's totally not a great excuse, but
That happens.
yeah, but like I listen to, podcasts that whatever I'm interested in at the moment to learn more about it. I I do that quite a bit. So, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. How do people find you? Besides LinkedIn, do you have other ways to be reached?
Yeah, I mean, I am on LinkedIn all the time. I don't really have any other platforms. But you can always email me at Julia at with capitalcatalyst.com. That is my email. You can also head to our website with capitalcatalyst.com and learn more about our services that way.
All right. So let's see. Do I have any other questions that I want to ask you today? Nope, I think we covered everything. So I appreciate you taking the time to come by today. Tell us a little bit about told us a little about your life story and kind of how you built your business, which is very beneficial toward a lot of people. And I appreciate this. We're going to sign off. Bye, y'all.
Much. Bye.
All right, just give me 1 second.